All right, get ready, everybody, because we are diving headfirst into The Promised Neverland. And wow, it really digs into season 1.
Oh, it's such a good one.
I have a feeling we're going to uncover some stuff you wouldn't catch just watching casually.
Definitely. What gets me about The Promised Neverland is how it messes with your head. You think it's all this perfect life at Gracefield House with the kids and everything.
Right.
And then bam, everything you thought you knew is flipped. Total suspense, but it also goes deeper, like what does innocence really mean? What about manipulation? And what does it really take to be free?
It's true, those early scenes, they're so peaceful, almost too perfect. We meet Emma, Norman, and Ray. They're like siblings thriving under Mama Isabella. You said something about expectations getting flipped. What's the deal there?
It's subtle, but there's this unsettling vibe almost right away. Like those numbered tattoos on the kids' necks. Nobody explains it at first.
Oh, yeah?
It makes you wonder. It's like a tiny crack in that perfect facade.
And speaking of cracks breaking, everything goes haywire with Connie's adoption. She's so tiny. And when Emma finds little Bunny left behind, heartbreaking.
And that's the turning point. Emma, Norman, Ray, always the curious ones. They break the rules to follow Isabella. And what do they find? Poor Connie, lifeless. The way that scene plays out, it's like we're seeing it through the kids' eyes. We're just as shocked as they are when those demons show up.
Total gut punch. One second it's this happy orphanage, the next, bam, demons. These poor kids are being raised as well,
Exactly. And think about Isabella. She seems like this loving caretaker, but the truth is way darker. She's part of the system. Getting them ready to be shipped out to the demons makes you think,
Ugh, it's awful. How can someone seem so caring but be a part of something so horrible?
Right. It makes you question everything. Are they really nurturing if this is how it ends?
Total mind game. From that point on, though, the stakes are through the roof. Emma becomes laser focused on saving everyone, but they're racing the clock.
Yeah.
The essay really makes you feel how little time they have before they're the next one shipped out.
That's when The Promised Neverland gets really good with the characters. Each kid reacts to this horrifying truth in their own way. Norman, always the thinker, he dives into the farm's secrets. Knowledge is power. Right.
Makes sense.
And then there's Ray, such a mystery. Always watching, always thinking 10 steps ahead.
It's like they each embody a different way of holding on to hope when everything's fallen apart. Speaking of hope, they eventually find William Minerva written in those library books.
Oh, yeah. Just a name, a message.
It's incredible how something so small becomes this lifeline for them, like a tiny spark in the darkness.
It proves that even in the darkest places, resistance is possible. And it's not just Minerva, the kids themselves are resisting. Tag becomes an escape drill. Lessons or strategy sessions. Their whole world becomes a way to fight back against the system that's trapping them.
Right. They take back their power, little by little. And just when you think they're making progress, we meet Sister Crony. Talk about adding another layer to this whole thing.
Crone is a whole other story. She's brought in to keep an eye on the kids, especially when Isabel gets suspicious.
Which, fair, after all that.
Right. And Crony, she's ambitious. She wants Isabella's spot. The essay does such a good job of showing how creepy she is, always watching. The kids are already on edge, and she just adds to it.
Totally. And remember how she tries to play them? Offering freedom for information.
Oh, yeah.
Shows you how sneaky she is, but also shows how desperate the kids are. Any hope, even if it means betraying each other.
Of course, it was all a lie to get ahead.
Classic Crone. But that feeling that you can't trust anyone, that's what makes this show so intense.
Totally agree. But the biggest betrayal, it comes from Ray, when they reveal he's Isabella's informant. Oof, game changer.
Right in the feels, especially for Emma. This is someone she's trusted completely her whole life, and he's been playing both sides.
It hurts, but the essay points out that Ray's betrayal actually makes the story more emotional. He made a deal with Isabella years ago, gave up his own freedom to protect Emma and Norman.
Wow.
Talk about an impossible choice. How far would you go to protect the people you love?
Oof, I don't even know if I could answer that. But Emma, she forgives Ray. They're still a team, and together they start putting the final pieces of the escape plan together. And Norman's plan. It's crazy smart A&E, crazy risky.
It's true. He pretends to sacrifice himself to throw Isabella off their scent. That scene. So sad to watch.
Right. And we can't forget Emma hurting herself. She knew the demons wanted them perfect. That just shows how far she'll go to save her family, even if it means getting hurt.
They go through so much. And then there's Ray making the fire as a distraction. The essay said he'd been collecting stuff to make Molotov cocktails for years. Years. That's dedication.
He's not messing around. The tension building up to the escape is insane. Everything depends on this plan working perfectly.
It really does. Talk about intense. The escape itself has you on the edge of your seat.
For real. The essay captures it perfectly. You can practically feel the chaos of that night. Those kids making to run for it, Isabella going crazy trying to catch them. It's wild.
And as exciting as the escape is, it really hits you with the weight of what they had to do. They had to leave the little ones behind. With Phil. Now he has to carry the weight of knowing the truth.
It's heartbreaking, you know? That's one of the worst parts of this whole system. It forces these kids to grow up way too fast, make impossible choices. Emma promising to come back for them. It just gets to you, you know? You know she'll try, but the odds are so stacked against them.
It makes you wonder if real freedom is even possible in a world where they do this to kids. Speaking of freedom, though, that last scene with Isabella, with Ray, intense. She finds out her own son, her flesh and blood, set the fire. It's like a part of her wanted this all along.
Right. You can see it in her face. She's usually so serious, so stone-faced, but right there's something more. Regret. Pride.
Maybe both. And that thing she says at the end about the kids finding the light. What do you think that's all about?
It's so vague, right? Is it a real place? Some kind of symbol in this demon-run world? Or is it more about, I don't know, finding the strength inside themselves to keep fighting? I love that it's open-ended.
Me too. It makes you think. Speaking of which, the essay just scratches the surface of this world. What's beyond Gracefield?
So many questions.
What are these demons really about? Their society. Hello.
Right. The essay did mention other farms. So it's not just them. There's a whole system for raising humans for it. Yeah.
Exactly. This is bigger than just one house. It's huge and it's organized. It makes Emma's promise to save everyone seem even crazier.
It's terrifying to think about. And we still don't really know anything about William Minerva. Who is he?
Right.
Will they ever find him? And if they do, will he help?
It's interesting that you bring him up, though. It shows that even when things are this messed up, hope finds a way. Just leaving messages in books. For these kids, that was everything.
It really shows you how much power those little acts of rebellion can have.
Yeah.
Even in a place where everything's controlled. They found ways to fight back, to make their own choices.
Totally. And those small acts of defiance, choosing hope over giving up, that's what makes their escape so awesome. It wasn't easy. It shows how strong they are.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
But it's still bittersweet. They're out of Gracefield.
What?
But the world out there is still dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
And everything they went through, the friends they left behind,
Yeah.
that's going to stick with them.
For sure. And that's why the Promised Neverland is so good. It doesn't try to sugarcoat things, you know? It shows how tough it is, how much their choices cost.
Right.
But even in all that darkness, they never lose sight of hope. They show how important it is to fight for something better no matter what.
It's a powerful message, even outside of the show, don't you think? It's about standing up to people who try to control you, fighting against injustice, never letting go of hope, even when it feels impossible.
Beautifully said. And what I love is how the Promised Neverland can be this deep and meaningful, but also so exciting and emotional at the same time.
I know, right? It's a tough balance, but they nailed it. Even just describing it, I'm reminded of how visually stunning this anime is.
Yeah.
That contrast, you know, between how pretty and peaceful Gracefield seems and then the demons.
Don't remind me.
Super creepy.
Seriously, it's like you know something's off just by looking at it. A perfect example of too good to be true.
Totally. And that ending, those tiny hands grabbing onto the wall, reaching for freedom.
Oh, man.
Hopeful, but man, it makes you worry about them. It's like their fight isn't over. Not even close.
Not even a little bit. And that's what's so cool. What happens next? Will they actually find freedom? Can they really save the other? What about Isabella?
So many questions. I love how this anime just throws you into the deep end and keeps you guessing. The essay was just the first season, and Escaping Gracefield, that was just the beginning.
Speaking of beginnings, we've gone on quite the journey ourselves. We talked about innocence, manipulation, what's right and wrong, and never losing hope.
Totally.
And you know what? We've barely scratched the surface.
Oh, yeah. The essay had so many interesting details, like those 5 plants.
Oh, right.
If there are other farms, what are they like? Are they all the same as Gracefield, or are they totally different?
Good point. And those messages from Minerva, remember? He mentioned a hunter.
Ooh.
Could that be a person or a whole group, some kind of secret society fighting against the demons? It's a mystery.
Ooh. And don't forget what the essay said about the demons wanting specific kids.
Yes.
What makes those kids so special? Is it just how smart they are, or is there something else going on?
It's like Every time you think you're getting close to the answer, you find 10 more questions.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's like we're connecting dots on one of those crazy conspiracy boards, but instead of it being like aliens and stuff,
Right.
it's all grounded in this world the anime builds. Creepy, but you can totally see it happening.
That's what makes The Promised Neverland so good. It takes these fantastical things, demons and secret groups and messages,
Right.
and then throws in real life stuff we worry about, being controlled, manipulated. What does freedom even mean when that's going on, you know?
Totally. It's not just about fighting monsters. It's deeper. Like they're being literally raised by this system. But isn't that kind of like real life too, in a way?
100%. We're all shaped by the systems we grow up in, the rules, the expectations. It makes you think, what if we could break free from those too?
Whoa, that's deep. And speaking of breaking free, remember how the essay talked about Isabella's past?
Oh, yeah.
She wasn't always like this. She was a kid once, dreamed of freedom, loved music and climbing trees. So sad.
It's tragic. It shows you how the system, it chews people up,
Yeah.
breaks them down, turns them into either the consumed or the ones doing the consuming. No winning, really.
Depressing, but true. It makes you wonder, if the kids somehow brought this whole system down, what would even be left? Could they build a better world? One where they protect innocence instead of,
Big questions. That's what I love about this anime. It makes you think about the really big stuff. Even just this glimpse into season 1, I get why it's gotten so popular.
Me too.
Yeah.
Gets under your skin. I think it's that fear we all have deep down of being controlled, of someone else making all the decisions for us. But it also shows how strong people can be,
Yeah, exactly. The human spirit, right?
Yeah. Love, connection. That's what keeps them going. It's
Yeah.
powerful. And honestly, the characters themselves are just great. Emma, never giving up.
Love her.
Norman, so strategic.
Yeah.
And Ray, always calm under pressure. Even though they're in this crazy situation, they feel real.
And they work so well together because they're different, They see each other's strengths, they support each other, they would do anything for each other. That's family, right?
Absolutely. They never give up on each other, never give up on hope. It makes that escape scene so much more powerful. Even though we know it's just the beginning, there are still so many dangers out there.
You just know they can handle it. As long as they have each other, they can face anything. I kind of love that message, The world can be a scary place, but love, hope, working together. That's how we get through it.
It's true. Wow, this deep dive has been quite the ride.
Yeah.
Suspense, things that make you think, emotional, and in the end, inspiring, It's definitely given me a lot to think about, and I need to know what happens next.
Me too. Isn't that the sign of a great story, though? You finish it, but it sticks with you. Makes you see the world differently. The Promised Neverland, even just this first season, mission accomplished.
For sure. So to whoever recommended this essay, thank you. You really opened our eyes to how much more there is to this show. And to everyone listening, what hit you the hardest about The Promised Neverland? Let's keep talking about it online using the episode hashtag, because this is a conversation worth having. And until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep with us.